In a quiet suburban neighborhood, a man stood just outside a modest wooden fence. He was dressed sharply in a dark suit, a light-colored shirt, and a neatly knotted tie. His short graying hair hinted at years of experience, but his eyes carried a sharp intensity that suggested he was no ordinary visitor. From his mid-chest up, he commanded attention, firm, focused, unwavering. He pointed directly at a worn warning sign nailed to the fence. Its bold yellow letters read "Warning," and beneath that, black text outlined dangers that could threaten anyone nearby. Symbols on the sign depicted falling trees and parked vehicles, implying that the area beyond the fence was more than just a quiet backyard. It was a zone of potential disaster. The man's expression was stern, almost commanding, as if he had a duty to protect others from what lay beyond. His body was slightly turned, positioning himself as a guardian, a gatekeeper of safety. He looked straight at whoever might be watching, as if challenging them to ignore the warning. The background revealed a row of houses behind the fence, peaceful on the surface but hiding secrets beneath. The natural daylight cast a neutral glow over everything, making the scene appear ordinary. Yet beneath that facade, something was about to unfold. Overlaid on the image was a single, commanding message: "Remove that sign immediately." The words felt urgent, almost pulsing with the weight of an unseen threat. As the man continued to point at the sign, a strange feeling settled in the air. It wasn't just about a piece of paper nailed to wood. It was about something much deeper, something buried beneath the surface of this quiet neighborhood. And as his eyes narrowed, it became clear that this was the start of a story far more dangerous than anyone could imagine. His gaze flickered with a mixture of determination and concern as he slowly lowered his arm, still pointing with a trembling finger. The warning sign seemed innocuous at first glance, but he knew better. There was a darkness hiding behind that simple message, and he had come to uncover it. Behind him, the neighborhood remained eerily silent. The usual hum of every day, life faded into a tense stillness. He took a cautious step closer to the fence, eyes scanning the area beyond the sign. The trees nearby swayed slightly, their branches creaking ominously in the breeze as if whispering secrets only the wind could understand. His mind raced. What was so dangerous that a sign had to be posted? And why did it feel like someone, or something, was watching him? Suddenly, a faint rustling noise broke the quiet. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it sent a shiver down his spine. His hand instinctively reached into his pocket, gripping the small flashlight he always carried, just in case. He carefully moved toward the fence, his footsteps muffled by the soft grass underneath. As he reached out to examine the sign more closely, something caught his eye. A faint scratch mark, almost like a claw or a knife, had been carved into the wood just beneath the warning label. It was fresh, and the edges looked jagged, as if someone, or something, had tried to erase or emphasize something behind the warning. His brow furrowed. Was this a threat? A warning of something worse to come? He looked past the fence again, but the view was obstructed by thick bushes and the dense shadows cast by the trees. Then, out of nowhere, a sudden gust of wind swept through, causing the trees to sway wildly. The warning sign flapped violently, and a sharp, cracking noise echoed through the yard. For a moment he thought he saw a shadow dart behind the trees, quick, fleeting, gone before he could make sense of it. His heart pounded. He knew he shouldn't ignore the signs, but he also knew he couldn't just stand here forever. Something was definitely wrong. The neighborhood seemed normal on the surface, but beneath that veneer, a darker story was unfolding, one that had been carefully hidden until now. He pulled out his phone, intending to call someone, perhaps the authorities or a friend who knew about these things, but hesitated. Who could he trust? The quiet suburb had secrets that refused to stay buried. As he stared at the flickering screen, a cold realization washed over him. This was only the beginning. Whatever was lurking behind that fence was more dangerous than he could imagine, and he had just stepped right into its path. In that moment, he made a silent vow. Whatever it took, he would find out what was really going on. Because some warnings weren't just signs, they were cries for help, and it was up to him to listen before it was too late. He hesitated for a moment, the weight of the situation pressing down on him. The shadows in the yard seemed to stretch and twist, almost alive, whispering secrets he couldn't hear but instinctively felt. His fingers trembled as he tapped his phone, but before he could press any buttons, a sudden movement caught his eye. From behind the thick bushes, a faint glimmer flickered, something metallic, perhaps a reflection from a distant window or a piece of discarded trash, but it felt out of place, unnatural. His eyes narrowed as he moved closer, cautious but driven by an undeniable urge to uncover the truth. The wind howled again, stronger this time, causing the trees to sway more violently. The warning sign's edges flapped wildly, and in the dimming light he thought he saw the shadow of a figure dart across the far end of the yard, too quick to make out clearly, but enough to spike his adrenaline. Suddenly, a sharp, piercing cry split the air, high-pitched and unnatural, like the scream of a creature caught in a trap. His heart hammered against his chest as he froze, listening intently. Was it an animal? Or something more sinister? The sound echoed through the neighborhood, unanswered, unresolved. He took a cautious step back, still peering into the darkness, trying to gauge what lay beyond the fence. His mind raced through possibilities. Was someone living here? Was there a hidden danger? Or worse, was someone trying to warn him, just like that sign, but in a language only the brave or the foolish would understand? His eyes darted back to the scratched wood beneath the warning label. The fresh carving seemed to pulse with a dark energy, almost alive. It was as if the fence itself was trying to communicate something that couldn't be spoken, aloud. His gut told him to turn away, to call for backup, to leave this mystery behind, but his feet refused to move. Instead, he felt an inexplicable pull, a sense that he was on the brink of discovering something that could change everything. Then, just as he was about to step back, a faint flicker of movement appeared in the corner of his eye. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, like a ripple in the fabric of reality. It was as if the very air around him was shifting, waiting for him to make a decision. His breath hitched, and he knew deep down that whatever was behind that fence was not just dangerous. It was alive, watching, waiting for someone brave enough to look deeper. In that suspended moment, with the neighborhood quiet once more and the shadows growing longer, he made his choice. Whatever secrets lay hidden beyond that fence, he would confront them. Because some warnings, some signs, were more than just warnings. They were calls to action. And he had just crossed the threshold into a story far darker and more mysterious than he had ever imagined. He stood there for a moment, caught between curiosity and caution, feeling the weight of unseen eyes watching him from the shadows. The distant cry had faded into an eerie silence, leaving only the rustling leaves and his own ragged breathing. The flickering reflection in the bushes still lingered in his mind, teasing him with its silent invitation to uncover what lay hidden behind the fence. Every instinct urged him to retreat, to forget what he had seen and heard, but a stubborn resolve pushed him forward. Slowly he knelt down, carefully peering through a small gap in the bushes. The darkness beyond the fence seemed almost impenetrable, but faint outlines of shapes and movement made his pulse quicken. Was it an animal, or something more sinister lurking in the shadows? His eyes darted around, trying to make sense of the shifting silhouettes, twisted branches, discarded debris, or maybe something alive and watching. Suddenly, a faint glow flickered deep within the yard, perhaps a small light from a hidden source or a reflection from a glass object. The glow seemed to pulse rhythmically, as if it was breathing or perhaps signaling. His mind raced with possibilities. Could it be a person hiding in the darkness, or was it something else entirely, something beyond his understanding? He remembered the scratched sign and the strange carvings on the fence. They suddenly felt like a puzzle piece fitting into a much larger picture. What was being concealed behind this barrier? Why was it hidden away? The more he looked, the more he felt the pull of a story waiting to unfold, one that could shatter the calm facade of the neighborhood forever. A sudden movement in the corner of his eye made him recoil slightly. This time he saw it clearer, and indistinct shape, perhaps a figure slipping behind a tree. It was quick, almost ghost-like, vanishing before he could fully process it. His heart thudded loudly in his chest, adrenaline surging through his veins. Was this the person responsible for the sign? Or was it something else, something that defied explanation? He hesitated, then took a deep breath, steadying himself. His hands trembled as he reached into his pocket for the small flashlight he always carried. Turning it on, he directed the beam toward the yard, illuminating the darkness with a narrow, intense light. The shadows recoiled briefly, revealing more details: twisted branches, broken fences, and patches of disturbed earth where something had recently been moved. He knew he couldn't ignore the signs anymore. The strange carvings, the distant cries, the flickering lights. They were all part of a message that demanded deciphering. The mystery was bigger than he had imagined, and now he was caught in its web. He had to decide. Keep watching from the safety of his hiding spot or step forward, risking whatever might be waiting in the darkness. As he hesitated once more, the wind picked up again, carrying with it a faint whisper, almost inaudible, yet unmistakably urgent. It sounded like a call, a plea from the shadows beckoning him closer or warning him to turn back. The choice was his, but he knew deep down that whatever lay beyond that fence was no ordinary secret. It was something alive, something watching, and it was only a matter of time before he would have to confront it face to face. And so, with a mixture of fear and determination, he took that crucial step forward, ready to unravel the secrets that had been buried beneath the surface for so long. Because some mysteries weren't meant to stay hidden forever, they demanded to be brought into the light, no matter how dark it might be.